Rogers here. Alright, so I'm going to do a video about opening and closing the gearbox because it's kind of a frustrating thing, especially if you're starting out. And I have a few tips to do it that'll make it easy on everything from a M90 spring up to a 170, maybe even a 210. I haven't really tried one of those, but it's all about where you place your hands. A couple things to pay attention for are the other two sprung components, the anti-reversal latch, which hides its pretty little self down here, right? And then your trigger assembly. All you have to do is just get the trigger to where it sits in the hole, and even if it's cocked to the side, when you put the other case half on, you can jimmy with the trigger and get it to fit. With the reversal latch, I will usually leave the bearings out, like not glued into the case, so it can be kind of a pain to get it underneath the spur gear here. But I'm going to try to annotate as I do this very carefully. So spin the reversal latch back and pinch it down with a finger. Now come up underneath, grab the top bearing. Ooh, this is hard. The top bearing with your middle finger and the bottom bearing with your thumb, and lift the spur gear some. And if you're real good, cock it back that way. Now take your bevel gear, okay, and come in, tilt it forward that way. This is really hard to show on camera, y'all, because my hands are all in the way. And kind of sneak it. You like tilt it forward. This is the bottom of the nose of the bevel here. You sneak it down underneath the spur and then turn it upright, and it'll drop it down in the hole. I'm sure you heard the little click. That was the bearing seating in the lower half of the shell. Now rotate the bevel backwards until you find a catch and release. Okay, now here's the thing. When you release, make sure to take the bevel gear and spin it into the anti-reversal latch so it's touching, and that's going to help it just kind of pinch it in place and hold it there for the next part, and that's putting the spring in. So have at least one screw ready, okay, and it's going to end up going right here in the crook. Now another important thing, right, is it's nice to have a screwdriver. In fact, I just highly recommend that you use a screwdriver that fits all the way through the back of the spring guide. Okay, now here, this part's going to be kind of tricky to show on camera, honestly, but take your gearbox half, the top half, and place it near the peg for the cylinder head on the front. This will help you know that when you come to bring it down, that it should be pretty well lined up. Now I put right here on my hand onto that part of the cylinder head, or the where the case is on the cylinder head. My thumb on my right hand comes to the pinion hole, okay, and I pinch the case half down with my thumb inside of it. And what that does is it helps stabilize the upper part of the case so that it doesn't come flying off. And you kind of bear paw it, right? And grab the, along the top rail with these fingers. But yeah, when you pinch your thumb down in the pinion hole, that helps ensure that you have space there to bring the spring in. And it also, you can pinch it to where you have just enough space, right, so that you can fiddle with the spring, do everything you have to do, and then, it's just, right as you get it in, you can drop the case half down, right? So here we go. Wow, this is tricky. I'm all lean and funny. All right, so just like that, right? And rock the spring back and forth until it comes in. Okay, now this always seems to happen with me where the bevel gear wants to catch down here. Okay, don't go ramming it in there because you might knock your reversal latch out. Just gently release pressure on the top half of the case so that you can sneak it in. Okay, now here's where I like to call it saving my progress, right? Take this bolt and stick it in there and bring it down to where, I mean, yeah, it's cocked sideways and everything, but you can kind of let go, take a breather, you know, go get a Coke or whatever, or you can finish doing what you're doing. The next part that can be kind of frustrating is getting the pins of the spring guide to catch properly. Now, what I do is take that screwdriver that you used, you know, a thicker tip, put it into the spring guide and push it forward just enough to push your spring guide away from the back of the case here. And even if, let me go ahead and, okay, even if you got the spring guide cocked sideways to where the pins don't line up, you can always look down in there, right? And take a 90-degree pick, and hopefully you have this window, otherwise this can be frustrating. But take that pick and grab the pin and keep twisting the spring guide to pull it over. Hopefully y'all understand what I'm saying here. If that's not working, or sometimes maybe it'll fit one direction this way but not this way, and that's how you put it in. Take this, you know, your screwdriver, just ram it in there, right? Force that thing into the window to where you can see it, or just off of it, and turn it. And the spring pressure will hold the spring guide against the screwdriver, so you can actually turn it around, you know, this way or that way to get it to fit properly into the back of the case half there. It takes fidgeting, but, you know, ultimately, that's like the final step. It's not too bad. Don't worry about it. And, you know, boom. See, you got all your, everything's in there happy. Ooh. I'd say that's probably a little too much play. What do you think? Okay, anyway. Now, coming back apart. Take all the bolts out except for that save progress guy, right? This one little guy sitting in the crook here in the corner. Now, right, put your screwdriver in, take this part of your palm, set it up against the back of the screwdriver here, and place your index finger on the cylinder. And what you're doing is you're making sure that even though when the top half comes off, you know, even though the spring is sitting loose, it can't go anywhere. Now, okay, back this screw off until it, you know, tap tap, and then bring it back down a few threads. I mean, not many. You're not going to hurt anything, right? But see how, there you go. See how I left some space there? It's real crucial to the next part of the trick here. Take a flathead screwdriver and come into your safety arm and stick it in and turn sideways, right, to lift it up. Now, put your thumb or something somewhere to keep it lifted up. And, well, see, I didn't do it well enough. Oh, man, it's going to fight with me. See, what's happening here is the, there we go. The cylinder head pins were stuck into the cylinder head, right? And that's going to be one of the first things that you want to release, right? And that's what I was saying is you take the screwdriver, you release this up, you know, you release the top half or pick it up some, and then take the blade. I don't know if you noticed, but I brought it over here into this front crevice, and then pick it up there to release the cylinder head. Okay, now, right, do that part of it where you grab onto everything, take your screwdriver here, right, make sure your bolt comes out. Now, when everything is oily, right, your bearings and everything are probably, they might stick up into the case, or I mean these holes are kind of loose, so they're letting go. But this would be the time, once you lifted up the front half, to go and press the bearings back onto the axles, right, to save your shim job. Okay, so press them out, maybe tap them with the back of the screwdriver, you know, whatever you have to do to get them loose, and back onto the gear set. Okay, and now you can lift the second half off, right, reach under, grab the cylinder, now you can grab the spring, dump that half off. Okay, here's the final little bit of it. Place your pinky, the pinky side of your palm or hand over here on the cylinder, and put your ring finger, middle finger, and index finger on each bearing to hold them. And now I'm going to press down on the spring and lift the screwdriver up and kind of hold on to it, because you don't want it shooting across the room, but you're going to gently release it into your palm, just like that, right? And that's it. That's how you can open it without losing your shims and doing all that kind of thing. And this was a long video, but you can see how if you're moving real quickly, you can knock that out in no time. Just, you know, kind of flip back and notice the little tricks that I use, like the, you know, cracking the cylinder head loose up here, you know, holding the bearings down for your shims, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's what I got for you guys. All right, enjoy.